Episode 160, Get Control of Your Time, Part 2. Hey, my friends, I am back this week to continue the conversation about your schedule, your calendar. I want you all to have one that you love. I want you to look at your calendar and be like, this is so helpful. This allows me to get whatever I want out of my life. Let's feel that way about our time, because so many of us are spinning in like overwhelm and stress and confusion, even just about how we're supposed to do all the things. I would love to have you all get this locked in and cleaned up and just in a happy, happy place before the holidays. So we're not just sort of like adding to an already frazzled system, right? If you didn't listen last week, I presented all the different challenges that people come up against, at least the challenges that I see the most frequently in coaching, with loving their time, feeling good about time, creating a schedule that really works for them. And today I'm going to be talking about the tactics and suggestions and coaching for where you can go with that. So I do encourage you to go back and listen to last week's episode first, if you haven't heard it yet, and then come on back over here. All right, so let's get started. So the first challenge that I offered you was anticipating disappointment. Remember that one? That's when you go and you sit down to do your calendar and you are already deleting things from the list of things you would love to have in your life, because for sure there's no chance that's going to happen. So it's really, really common. It's one that I catch myself doing a lot. And what's funny is that sometimes when I think about what I really want on that list, it's not even necessarily something that sounds so luxurious. It might just be like, I want a little unstructured time, or even sometimes I want a whole day where I can just catch up on the laundry and get it done. That might actually be what I want. Okay. So no judgment with what goes on your dream list, but your dream list is where I want you to start. The way you plan for a win is start with your dream list. And I want you to consider what would light you up, what would feed you with energy, what would make you glow. And yes, world travel can go on there, but make sure you're including what would exist on your regular week. Okay. One of the things we do inside of How to Glow is we break out time management into 3 different systems. There's your regular week system, right? That's like, I know how my life is running, which is really important for busy women because we can't constantly be reevaluating our day, redoing it. Allowing our brains to get into a routine and a basic habit and system of how our life works allows us to free up a lot of mental energy for troubleshooting the other stuff in our life, right? So that's one piece of how we do time management. The next one is how we deal with now I have an actual week in front of me. I have my basic structure, but now I need to get the specific items that are on my to-do list into this week. Okay. So that is the Monday hour 1. The first one's called the zero-based calendar. The last thing that we do is a new way of working on a to-do list. And that's when you have a major project that you're managing, especially going into holidays, going into Shabbos, but it could also be work related. It could be a move, something like that. Okay. So we break it down into these things. When you're thinking about your dream list, that's a really important thing for your zero-based calendar. When you're creating a calendar of what you want your typical week to look like, you want to make sure that you are creating a week that would light you up, that would energize you, that would excite you, that you're looking forward to living that week, right? For me, an evening walk with a friend and unstructured time with my kids are things that light me up. Getting plenty of sleep with buffer time to wind down feels very luxurious to me. Your brain's going to want to jump in and tell you why you can't and don't have time for these things. Your brain is not going to want to let you put it on your list. That's why I want you to call it a dream list, because it will shut up your brain. Sometimes we just need our brain to be quiet for a minute. If your brain wants to jump into like, well, it's not going to happen, you just go, no, this is called my dream list. So as you're working on your dream list and you're putting down all those things that will light you up and make you excited for your week, don't worry, I'm not planning right now. I'm just writing my dream list. Now you have at least identified those items. And when you go to schedule, you know what they are. We're kind of sneaking it around the back door with your brain, so your brain doesn't put up too much of an objection. Okay. Why is this important? Sometimes these glow activities, these activities that really allow us to glow, actually fix everything else. Okay. If I've been on my walk, I have the energy to come back and wash the dishes or get some admin done in my business. Otherwise, it's too much of a drag. And I'm so much more likely to either just want to go to bed or to procrastinate. I'm more likely to focus and accomplish tasks quickly when I'm in glow mode. So I don't want you to undervalue this list. This is a really critical list. The other thing about this, I wasn't planning on saying this, but I think it's important to say, is that you glowing is something your husband can really buy into. You functioning is not an exciting mission statement for your family. But you loving your life is something that's going to be really exciting for your husband to say, like, wait, that would light you up. Like that walk with your friend, do it. Like if he's able to actually see how much it's helping you, you're going to have people on board, whether it's your husband or your kids even, right? Or other people in your life. We like to see other people living a full life. It's something that we can buy into. Though when someone's like, look, I need this just to function, it's a little less motivating. Not that we shouldn't still do it, because we should be nice people, but it's less motivating. The second challenge I offered you was going into this process of either making your to-do list or making your calendar, your schedule, already sure that you're just not going to be able to fit it all in. So what do you do if that's the case? You already noticed you're sitting down at your computer or your calendar and your shoulders are up around your ears and you're feeling super tense and you just want to rush through the whole process and get to work because I don't even have time to schedule. That's the thought, right? So what you do is I want you to examine what thoughts you already have about your life and your time. Look at them. I know you think you don't have time. Trust me, you will save so much time by doing this exercise. All right? Because this is the idea of the self-fulfilling prophecy. When I think I'll never be able to fit it all in, I get super tense and overwhelmed. I make bad decisions and I waste my time. I prove that I can't fit it all in, but it was never the number of things on my list that was the problem. It was my thought about that list. Make sense? When I think I can't fit it all in, self-fulfilling prophecy, I'm going to behave in a way that keeps me from fitting it all in. We see all over people who are productive and people who are not. And we see in ourselves times where we're productive and times where we aren't. If you're in my program, definitely bring this to a coaching call if this is something you want more support on. Let's hear what these thoughts are. So how do you do that? You want to write on the top of the paper, my schedule, my calendar, my to-do list, whatever. And then everything you're thinking, you're going to just dump it out on that paper. And I want you to remember, these thoughts are rattling around in your brain, affecting your behavior and creating your life, whether you write them down or not. Sometimes we don't want to write down those negative thoughts because we're worried it's going to make them more powerful. It's the opposite. It's like the monster in the closet. If I turn on the light and I open the closet door, I can see it's just a dusty old jacket. But if I won't look at it, it's kind of spooky, at least if you're 7, right? So we want to pull those thoughts forward so that you can then create your desired behaviors. All right. So look at those thoughts. That is the tactic for when you are feeling super stressed out and anxious around your scheduling. And I'll add one more piece here. Sometimes our thoughts are about our list. We want to do all of it. We think we have to do all of it. And that's the big piece. I want you to hear this. You never have to do anything. It is a huge disservice that you are doing to yourself if you are walking around telling yourself that you have to do something. Everything that's on your list is something you want to do. Sometimes I clean toilets. Do I wake up looking forward to it? No. Do I like my toilets clean? Yep. So in a way, I want to clean my toilets. I don't have to. I'm choosing to. And it is so much more empowering and so much more helpful to just acknowledge that I want to do these things. I might want to do some of them more than others. Some of them might be glow activities and some of them might not, but I still want to do them. Okay. So once you break out of your thinking that you have to do everything, you put on your big girl pants or skirt and you start making decisions. This is the next challenge, right? Not being willing to make decisions. I personally like to allow myself a little time to kind of mourn that I can't do it all. And I give myself a Kayla, you can have 2 minutes to just be sad that it's possible this is not all going to fit on the calendar. Okay. But once I've done that, right, then it allows me to transition into being willing to cut. It's kind of like decluttering, right? Part of me will always want to keep everything, but I know that that won't allow me to have the home that I want. So I notice it, that piece that wants to keep everything, I allow that feeling, and then I start throwing stuff out, because ultimately what I want more is the organized house. All right. So it's the same thing with your calendar. I might want all the things on my list, but I also want to sleep. Right. And I also want a little bit of spaciousness, or I want a calendar that doesn't stress me out. Right. And so it's okay. There's some things, it might be hard to say this thing's not going to fit on my list anymore. I can take a minute, but then I need to be willing to make that decision. So we have this kind of beautiful space where on the one hand, I choose everything. It's all what I want. And to have the life I want, I have to be willing to cut things out, at least for this week, right? If it's important, it can happen again later. So it's kind of this middle ground that we learn to live in. I'm choosing it, and sometimes I'm choosing to cut. Writing down your full list of what you want to do before even opening up your calendar is ideal. This is the process that I teach inside of How to Glow, because you want to separate the brainstorming from the planning. Okay. You can't write out your list of things that you want to accomplish if you're also trying to figure out when you're going to accomplish them. And a lot of people make this mistake. So it's very simple fix. You just brainstorm first and schedule second. They are two different processes. Okay. Troubleshooting. Here's the next challenge, which is not being willing to troubleshoot when the system doesn't work, right? So you have your great schedule, and then one week you realize it's Wednesday and you totally didn't do your schedule. So one option is to say, oh, the system didn't work. But the truth is there's no system that works or doesn't work. No planner works or doesn't work. They're all arbitrary. And I'm telling you, I love a good planner. I'm the kind of girl that would just really have a lot of fun with planners. But why does the planner work? Because I want to look at it. When I look at it, I think this is so pretty. It's so fun to plan. When a routine is solid, I usually have thoughts like, this has to get done before I go to bed or start my day, or it's so much easier for me to take care of this tonight versus in the morning. This is just the way I do things. Those are the thoughts that I'm having. The thoughts are what is causing the system or the planner to work or not work. It has nothing to do with the actual system that I chose or the planner that I chose. So please allow your inner perfectionist to just move to the side. Just acknowledge all systems require troubleshooting. And there's no one giving you a grade for following a system perfectly. Thank God, right? So if you want to follow my zero-based calendar and you decide, I don't like it being zero-based, I actually want wide open space in between items on the zero-based calendar. And that's the exact opposite of what Kayla teaches. Go for it. Because there's no one checking. You're an adult. You get to make that decision, right? It's very cool. So on the one hand, we love the system and it gives us structure and it gives us a place to start. On the other hand, once I get to troubleshooting, I can throw out whatever isn't serving me and customize it to meet my needs. I want to challenge you to consider that you have no idea how important your happiness is to your husband. This is the final challenge, which is throwing out things or adding more things to your calendar because you think either he's not willing to give you the extra help, or he really needs the house to look a certain way, or he really wants you to look, whatever the thing is, right? So I want you to consider that maybe you're wrong about that. Okay. And not only does your husband want to see you happy in the typical situation, unless it's just been a really long time since he's made you happy or whatever it is, right? In a typical situation, he really wants to make you happy. And especially if he's the one who feels he contributed to your happiness. Often I will hear women say their husband wants a clean house, but then I hear the husband say that they wish she wouldn't work so hard so she wouldn't be so stressed out all the time. I don't think they're such idiots that they can't figure out that if you didn't work so hard, the house wouldn't be as clean, right? So I don't want to go too deep into this week because I feel like this gets a lot into the relationship piece and kind of veers off of the calendar and scheduling piece. But I do feel like it's important to put there because I want to open your mind to that possibility. Just to go through life with the lens that it's possible that you've chosen his priorities for him and that you might be wrong about it could be very, very liberating and give you a very different approach to your entire schedule and calendar. Maybe you try a day where you take it a little bit more easy, but the caveat for that is you need to really enjoy it and be relaxed. And he should be able to tell the difference, right? Because if he comes home and all you are is a ball of guilt and shame that you didn't get all the things done that you normally get done, and that's all he sees, then this was not a good trade-off, right? Makes sense? Like you didn't work hard. Okay. So in theory, you should be more relaxed, but actually you feel terrible. So he is very likely to just say, well, maybe tomorrow you should do all the things you normally do because you don't look very happy. Okay. Again, I'm going to try and go back to scheduling, but I wanted to include that. One final thought. Not doing anything in your house or for your kids is not actually enjoyable for many of us, but we kind of sometimes think that's what we want. I had a really fascinating session with a client a while ago who was trying to figure out how to relax. But when we dug in, she realized that tidying up the apartment was actually relaxing to her. Right. So she kept trying to get herself to like get over the guilt of sitting on the couch. And finally we realized it wasn't guilt she was feeling. She was feeling uncomfortable. Right. What she wanted to be doing was tidying up. It was a very relaxing activity for her, especially because we got to enjoy that space afterwards. So I'm not saying everyone needs to go become Martha Stewart, but sometimes we do lean too far to the other side. And I just want to reintroduce that idea for you, because I think for some of you, it's going to be a huge relief to realize cleaning, tidying, chores, they are not implicitly stressful activities. They don't create your stress, only your thoughts about them. So you don't have to cut them out for you to feel happy. You don't have to cut them out for you to enjoy your life, right? We can have different thoughts about them and then be able to have the emotional experience that we want. All right. If you love this episode, please make sure to join us before September so we can do this work together. I want to meet you. I want to support you. I want to coach you and get you a schedule that you love. We're going to have live coaching calls, and you're going to get instant access to my Time Management for Jewish Women online mini course the second you sign up. And you can do that at kaylalevin.com/coaching. I'll also be linking some related episodes here about the zero-based calendar, like right in the show notes. So you can check those out. Okay, my friends, have an amazing, amazing week. See you back here next week. Bye-bye.